Hey everyone, it's Dr. Andrea Purcell here. You're watching Straight from the Doctor's Desk, where natural medicine is used as the first resort to help you achieve the health and the life that you love. I would love to do another webinar with all of you. We got such great feedback from the last one. I'm happy to hear it was just what most of us needed. All of those recommendations still apply and are in effect. I recognize the amount of distress that this crisis is causing. I hope that you and your loved ones are safe, healthy, and following the advice from our public health officials. This is an incredibly busy time in healthcare, and each day my team and I find ourselves at the end just wondering where the time went with so much left to write about and share. So is there a reason for concern? Yes. Is there a reason for panic? No. And the difference between the two is information and reason. So this is the COVID update number 4, and I hope this information provides you with hope. So each day I've been spending quite a bit of time in the emerging research to get a better handle on what we need to plan for moving forward. Things have been happening at a very fast pace with new data emerging each day. So in this video update, I wanted to let you know the latest developments and talk a little bit about epidemics so you see the projections clearly for 2020. There are over 325 clinical trials going on right now with respect to COVID-19. The results of these studies are going to help guide every aspect of how this virus is managed moving forward. It's also important to keep in mind that our understanding of this virus is growing and changing on a daily basis. So a little bit about epidemics, disease, and history. Epidemics have been around for thousands of years, and the truth is that no matter what, we will always be susceptible to epidemic diseases. I know there is a lot of talk about the origin of this. I am not talking about that today, because for an epidemic, it really doesn't matter how or where they start, but they will always be a possibility. And disease can spread very quickly with travel. Travel makes us very, very susceptible and easy for things to spread. So a sneeze in Asia can end up in New York 12 hours later and start off a whole domino effect. Epidemics in their own way have altered history. There have been more casualties in armies from epidemics than combat itself. So in essence, epidemics have shaped history and the destiny of nations. This is an important point. So for example, in 1812, Napoleon left France in an attempt to conquer Russia with 600,000 soldiers. He lost over 200,000 from an epidemic of typhoid. 1/3 of his army lost due to typhoid, right? And then 1 year later, typhoid resurged and came back again. Remember that point. So with the Spanish flu that premiered from 1918 to 1920, 50 to 100,000 Americans died from complications of pneumonia, and it was about 0.7% of the entire population. So Hippocrates, the father of medicine, was one of the first who recognized that environmental factors play a role in epidemic disease. So wind, humidity, famine, etc. These can affect the way a disease plays out in a particular region. So any altered conditions can lead to an epidemic. So travel, overcrowding, lack of cleanliness, high stress, poor diet, lack of sleep, social isolation. And remember, this is physical distancing, not social distancing, because we still need to feel connected and be social and not cut ourselves off from interacting, because that leads to depression. So as far as the infection rate, the seasonal flu spreads, from one person to about 1.4 others. COVID-19 spreads from one person to at least 3 other people. And just like any virus, COVID-19 can spread 3 to 4 days before symptoms appear. Another reason behind this whole physical distancing suggestion. However, the mortality rate is 10% higher than the regular flu. So the typical flu mortality rate is 0.5%. COVID-19 can up to a 10% mortality rate, and global mortality for COVID overall right now is somewhere between 4 or 5%. So when someone with severe symptoms gets pneumonia, that's where the mortality rate sets in. It's easy to feel fearful, but the purpose of this is not to build fear, but to disseminate proper information. So 80% of people will have mild symptoms: fever, cough, body aches, headache. We're not testing for those. 20% will have intense symptoms, developing into pneumonia, respiratory distress, and failure. And about 1 in 3 of those people will need to be ventilated. The projections for the US are about a 1.5% mortality rate, which turns out to be over 2 million deaths for the entire year. And most flus end with complications of pneumonia, that being the greatest risk. Regarding drugs and treatments, antivirals take about 6 years to be released. There's quite a bit of research that needs to go into those. And it is difficult to create a vaccine for this particular type of virus. It's a bit of a wild card because of the S protein coat and the way it binds to our healthy cells and our receptors. So the earliest projections are 12 to 18 months out, and even then we won't know how safe or effective it will be. I will talk more about drug therapies and vaccine obstacles in another post. So let's talk about where we are right now with COVID-19. Physical distancing has worked very well. We've stemmed the tide of infection by staying at home. The peak is expected in this next week across the nation, and in Arizona, the peak is estimated to be around April 23rd. That doesn't mean that the virus will be gone. It simply means that less people will die after the peak than did each day before the peak. The decline of the virus will take quite a bit of time and extend out through the summer. Heat and temperatures may have an impact on that, but really we cannot count on it. There most likely will be a resurgence in the fall, and like what happened in the particular typhoid epidemic. So when physical distancing bans are released and we go back to our everyday lives, our chances of contracting COVID-19 will be quite high. Projections expect that most of us will acquire the virus at some point over the next 10 to 12 months. So to recap, the odds are that most of us will get COVID-19. And like many epidemics that have come before, they tend to last somewhere between 18 to 24 months. The statistics in our country have shown that any person at any age can get COVID, but some people are at higher risk than others. So let's take a look at who exactly that is. And I really want to dial in on this. So who is high risk? Because now is the time to get proactive. So first is age. Well, can't do anything about that. I can't change my age. Next is diabetes. So elevated blood sugars over 125. Then we have heart disease, high blood pressure, other heart elevations or issues. So blood pressure 130 over 80. We have lung disease, pulmonary conditions, renal disease, and obesity. 1 in 3 Americans are overweight with a BMI greater than 30, and that especially abdominal weight gain. So, hey, if you're in some of these groups, I feel optimistic that you can cut your risk for complications. I cannot stress enough that taking charge of your health is paramount right now. This is the time to hold tightly onto our health. And from a naturopathic perspective, the health impacts from infection depend really on 2 things. So 1 is susceptibility and 2 is exposure. And health promotion, so promoting health is all about adopting a healthy lifestyle, which contributes to decreased susceptibility. So the one thing that this current crisis has reminded us is the importance of choosing a healthy lifestyle. So now is our time to shift into resolution. And there are clear steps that you can take. It is imperative that you take them now. and it is necessary to include all of your loved ones. The first line approach is to keep doing what you're doing. That includes personal hygiene, physical distancing, limiting your exposure, right? The second line approach is avoiding complications, giving yourself the best chance. So really think through some of these things for yourself and your family. Like self-care, the more you can stabilize your blood sugar, minimize blood pressure, reduce your BMI, the better off you will be. And you can improve these to reduce your chances of developing serious complications. So we need to skill up on our self-care and our health habits and improve our social circles and making a big shift in the risk factors and making it a family plan. So set a goal for this year to get fit, reduce your stress, sleep more, exercise, eat better, get healthier friends. The importance of food when supporting health cannot be overstated. We have to increase foods that are high in oxygen and nutrients, which include fruits and vegetables. Dark leafy greens are a great source of oxygen. Fruits and vegetables also have the vitamins and the minerals needed to support healthy blood cell formation. Reducing alcohol, along with sugar and refined foods, is really a very good idea. Hence my 10-10-10, Take Back My Health Challenge that many of you are participating in. We can stay hydrated. Water carries oxygen to the cells, and if we increase the intake of healthy fluids like water, green drinks, vegetable juices, it's going to be beneficial. Regular exercise, not one day on, next day off, just keep it steady, build it into your life. Take the time to exercise each day, and walking is ideal, and you can focus on exercises that support the cardiovascular system. Make sure you get good sleep. Spend more time outside. This is a beautiful time of the year. Go for a walk. Spend time in nature. It's really beneficial to our immune systems. And do your best to manage stress. Practice deep breathing, relaxation, meditation, and other exercises focused on stress reduction. Together, I believe we are going to rise up and not only make it through this moment and these moments, but lead the way for others to do the same. Above everything else, I want you to know that I care about you and I want to help you succeed no matter what is happening in the world. Sometimes it's easy to question how much you matter. How much does it all matter? But you do. You matter because someone or something is counting on you. There is no time to waste. So take good care of yourself. Until next time, I wish you well.